Look, I understand. We talk about Somali now. Black Americans, something came in and everything. You see, even the Black Americans themselves, they don't really go down with Africans. What I mean, I use the word Africans with West Africa like that. So when you bring in Black Americans, I didn't want really want to talk much about Black Americans. I've already experienced them before a long time. You understand me? To be honest, when you say you're an African, Black American person look at you like, wow. You look, see, things are calm now. Things are like, oh, they want to be Africans now. But way back, when I used to study in Europe, I'd be everywhere, I used to go to where hip hop was just coming up at that time. When I was a genuine, and when I mean people like the Puffy, the Biggie, downward. If you're in the club, right? If you're in an American club, I swear to God, if they know you're African, they don't want to even talk to you. You understand me? Do you know who are more in prison? In prison to the Black Americans, to the American culture war, the Jamas white ladies. You say Jama woman who speak like American, who don't want to even talk to an African. That
You're
was
right.
way. Who will tell you, man, I don't deal with Africans, I deal with Americans. You understand? So when you mention Black Americans, the Black Americans that believe we sleep in the tree, or we sleep on top of the tree, or we in the wooden and we sleep on the tree. Like, so when you mention Black Americans, or
Wait,
everything,
Black Americans believe that we sleep in the tree?
They
Black
believe
Americans,
that we are African
oh,
booty scratchers. That's what
Black
they call
Americans,
us.
no, Black
African
Americans
booty
believe
scratchers.
Africans sleep. There's a new guy that just came up. One very guy who always talk about finance. He said he want to take his children to Africa to show his children that they have it good in America. That Africans sleep on the trees or they sleep on the wood. You know what I'm saying? So what are you gonna call that one? So because he didn't know too much. It's not he that said most Black Americans have that mind. You understand? So we won't measure how everybody is black. No, man, we ain't the same like that. You understand? So, or when you're talking to a white girl, a Black American guy will come behind your back and make the mocking sign. I said, why you talking to this jungle brother? You get what I'm saying? So
Yo, shout out to Ike for the $20
you know, so
ADOS. Getting whipped. Let's go.
when Black Americans say we're all black,
Thank you,
I will,
Ike.
I will let them understand, my brother. If you we're not black, man, you're a Black American man. I'm an African man. That's
No,
perfect,
no, no,
bro.
prof. That again is very wrong. We all African. Even the American people African. How you not gonna be African when you only 300, prof? It's 300 years, long time. Let's be honest. How many people was born in 300 years? Maybe what maximum max six grandparents, maybe seven. 300 years not long. Even if your family member was living dying every 30 years, right? You that's what I'm saying, bruv. It's just indoctrination. You know what I'm saying? That's why even in the UK, especially when you go to the criminal system, yeah, let's say you get arrested, for example, they take you to the police station. They'll ask you, "What are you?" You straight away you under a class called IC free black male. IC free black male. Then you have to pick your category. Are you African? Are you Caribbean? This and that. You know what I'm saying? It's them like Snake. The brother Snake said earlier. It's a weapon they used against us. It's something they created. You know what I'm saying? It's the category. You know what I'm saying? Because look at the other people. They're not being called like this. When you live in UK, you don't even hear the word IC1, IC2. Like Asian IC4 and that. You don't hear that, but always IC3 is always mentioned. Is it because black people are committing most of the crime, or is it because black people are most responsible for all crime? So you know what I'm saying? Or they go mostly in courts. That don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It's just a weapon to undermine you. You guys are just black. Don't you forget, we colonize you, we enslave you. And the reason for that is because you're black. As long as you can keep to yourself to that identity, you can never be greater than anything. Don't ever remember yourself as African, because once you remember to yourself as African, you're gonna head back to the museum, study who you really true, where you come from, your ancestors and that, and you're gonna build yourself mentally. That's the last thing they want, right? They don't want you to get in tune with your true history and where you come from. You know, that's how I see it from the point of the UK, for example, or America. I don't know too much America, but I can speak for the UK and obviously other European country. It's all IC free. Once you're IC free, you're back. And this is why I believe IC free should come up and explain this. What is with this blackness? What is this? What's so great about blackness? Even the
Okay,
Sudanese people don't even call
yeah.
themselves
One
black.
second. As get is suk. Yeah. Yeah. You
Mujama
hear
mimi
that? Yeah?
naenda nimekuja kusalamia kidogo tu.
Oh yeah.
Endelea
Ngoja.
tu.
Nilikuwa nataka
Wait.
video moja.
Ah.
Alafu tuambie kama what your perspective is. Sawa. Hii video
Kaiser, from on now, I address the donation, okay? From now.
Say again, brother.
From now, I address all donations.
You
Guy,
press
brother.
all
This guy, brother. I was listening. Go on. Play this guy. Philip. What's his name? Philip Scott. Philip.
Tusikize msichana alafu tuambie unadhani kama yeye yako correct ama wewe ndio uko correct. Sawa. Let's go. And also shout out to Ike.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Let's listen to the video, brother. I don't have too much time. Guys, play it, please.
Like for the $20 ADOS whipping time, 1 Akata 6 lashes. And also shout out to the other brother, Chukwu for the $5. Let's go ahead, guys. Support the channel, support Black and African media, hit the super chat, whatever it is, and appreciate the show. Let's get it.
Clear a few things up. No Somali will ever identify themselves as white. Most Somalis will not identify themselves as black. What they will, however, identify themselves as is Somali. And this is mainly because Somalis know that blackness, race, is a social construct created by white Europeans. The same Europeans we repelled from our shores countless
You got colonized, but anyway.
of times. So it makes no sense for us to just turn around and accept a social classification created by the same people our ancestors fought against. Furthermore, blackness, race, cannot be genetically traced. What can, however, is ethnicity, i.e. being Somali. It makes absolutely perfect sense for Somalis to identify themselves as Somali. If you and your people want to identify yourselves as black, go ahead, you're welcome to. But don't force that upon my people.
Somalis come from...
Yeah, so what do you think
Did
about
you
that?
hear what she said at the end? Hafarin Habal, get out of our business. She said it in Somali, you know.
Kazu, are you Somali? Where are you from, really?
No, definitely not.
Where are you from? Kenya?
Never. No, I'm not Kenyan either, right? But never disrespect me like that. But yeah, go ahead, Oyo. I'm not from Kenya.
I'm not Kenya either. I'm not Kenya either.
Where are you from? People? You live in Kenya. Where
Uganda. There are hadiths that say anyone who
And I just addressed that video, what I believe, yeah?
Are you serious?
That seems to make a lot of point, you know, and she makes a lot of point. But I prefer she would have said we just African, you know. This Somali shit, you have to start from the big above. Remember this, bro? As our father, who gave birth to the Somalis? We can't even, I'll be honest, bro, Somali people, they claim they're original people. We don't even know that. We might be mixed race. We don't know where we come from. But what we do know, we come from that land. And we come from, not people from past, but we came from with Ethan. You know what I'm saying? So when you say we Somal, I understand Somal. It's something 60,000 years ago. You know, Wak and this and that, you know?
Yeah, but
250,000 years ago.
We know where Somalis came from, right? Somalis were the ancient Mursi in Ethiopia, the Nilotes who mixed with the North Africans, 30%, 35% North African, and the rest is Mursi, ancient East African Nilotic. So we do know where Somalis came from, right? You can trace it through the genetics and also the paternal haplogroup. Ancient East African E1B1B from the paternal side, and then the maternal side is usually LO01, which is one of the oldest actually ancient haplogroups in the whole world. So I think the issue is, though, if you notice, right, as Islam became more prevalent in these African countries, people wanted to now identify with different groups. You go to Nigeria, you look at the Igbos. Igbos are now claiming that they're Israelites. So that's an example because of proximity to the race and religion that they are part of. You go to Ethiopia, you have the Beta Israel, right? These Falashas are claiming to be ancient Israelites when they got almost no genetic similarities to them. If you look at the paternal group from the Ethiopian Habesha Jews, they're actually Nilotes. right? They're a haplogroup. So everybody wants to be closer to the master
Yeah.
and the religion that they're part of. Right? Yeah, go ahead. Omar.
Kazo, Igbos are not Jewish. They're never Jewish. They're not born Jews. They're not to do with the Jews. Igbo people are people who worship trees. They have their own voodoos. They have their own culture. All these people, you see, that word they are Jews came in because they move everywhere. They can go to everywhere, set up a business. You understand me? That's how that thing came. Oh, they are like the Jews because they're very good at business, which the British, the missionary taught them anyway. You understand me? I live too close to the Igbo states here. They're not Jews. They have their own culture. They have their own set of people who have their own rich culture. They have their own whatever they worship. They worship the God of the earth. You understand me? So I just want to say Jewish come in or whatever come in. These are something that some people just flare up and now become like, oh, they are rich. You know, since this Hebrew Israelite thing of a thing came in, that's how that word just came in. And you can see in Nigeria, they don't really give them space, even when they're better for them to rule. You understand me? Due to after this Biafra war. You understand? So not like say they're Jewish or whatever. They're just people who are very good at their own business. They're not now, man. They're not. Every day we eat.
Yo, Ola, I hear FBA music in the background. Are you a fan of FBA by any chance?
Guys,
I hear.
do you remember when we had the discussion about Africa and the concept of time? I think it's not an African problem. I think it's not a pattern. I think it's a generational problem. Continue.
No, man, I listen to Afrobeat, man. Burna Boy.
Yeah, you listen to Burna Boy?
Yeah, maybe it's my daughter. Maybe you hear him playing his
music. Playing your daughter is playing FBA music. You know, I heard that.
No, but she's not.
No, you gotta put her on the African music. You know, come on.
You know,
man.
I was watching. I was watching Roga. You know, and then I asked her to lower it down. Then my daughter on his phone, so he was playing music like that. You know, children of nowadays they just like whatever they like, but they are plugging here. They are member of a plug for Afrobeat anyway.
Yeah, Ola, I got a question for you. Do you consider Nilotic as black people? Nilotic.
What is that? I don't understand. What is
Nilotic? They don't.
Nilotic people are those really, let's say, okay, it depends which kind of Nilotic, right? Let's talk about the proto-Nilotic people or Mursis, for example, right? Let me show you Mursi people. So these are who Somalis came from, the Mursis, and then they married the North Africans. So let me show you the ancient Somali people before mixing. Can you share the screen for us, Andre? I'm just put it in the back chat.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's over there in the back chat. Yeah, and also Akuku, I would like to say that, you know, what happened recently with the stabbing of the young Ghanaian girl in the UK, that is embarrassment, and it made black people look bad everywhere because involving innocent young women in tribal warfare just because, you know, she didn't want to give back the number is insane.
Is Natui. She learned English in school in the big city. She told us it was actually pretty tough for her. I asked if we could talk about it on camera, and she said, "Follow me." It's your mom. We set up a couple cameras inside her mom's house, and we heard the story.
Yeah, so these are the Somalis before they mixed with the North Africans, the Arabs.
Wait, is she Ethiopian?
Yes, she's Ethiopian. Yes.
Bro, look again. Where was that region again? Where was that?
It's in Ethiopia. That's
Ethiopia, yeah. Okay.
Yes. Oh, I can tell because her accent.
No, guys think I'm trolling. No, this is actually a fact. Mutis are the closest to like.
You're trolling, brother. You're trolling, Kaiser. You're trolling, innit?
Even the language.
You're trolling, innit? That's your people, man. That's the River Nile people, man.
No,
That's
no,
the
no.
River Nile people. Somalia has no land with River Nile. We have nothing to do with River Nile. That's your people, man.
Bro, have you not seen the Kalenjin
No.
language? Kalenjin
Wait,
language
wait.
is actually very similar to
Kaiser,
Somali
modern
language.
day Somali people, they don't relate to us, you know. The modern day Somali people share similarities with Oromos and Afars and those people, you know, but not with Nilots.
At least Yoruba is honest, right? He knows his ancestors. Yes, the so-called Cushitic group of people, what ancestors are the Mursis, the Mursi people, right? We showed that. Can you pull up that video again so we can see the lip plates?
But Kaiser, before you pull up, yeah, and I just say something, brother. Before you pull up, is there any chance? Because I gotta go. Any chance one of these days soon you might make a video, stream about and William Ruto bringing American more troops into Africa, basically. William Ruto has signed, and Kenyan troops are going into Haiti now to fight those people in Haiti. Is there any chance you might look into that, research a bit? And
no way, Kaiser.
look, I swear down, bro. William Ruto has sold us out. He's a big sellout. Literally, he has signed I think about 100,000 more American troops to come into Africa. The reason for that is the Americans, some black American. That's what I'm saying again. These black people are dangerous. You know, these American. He's there talking about you African have brought in. There's people are gonna come into your country taking advantage. Well, why are you there, mate? You'd have been there for 50 years. You have done nothing for us. But yeah, man.
I can't comment on Ruto, man. You know this. Sitaki kwenda hapo siku moja sirudi home. So I can't be making videos on Ruto.
Kaiser, you gotta give me a source. I don't believe it.
Kaiser, these people still existed?
Yeah, they do exist.
Still living like this, correct? Yes.
They still existing like this. Still plating their mouth like this. They just put their lips down.
It's the African way. What do you mean about like this? Like, bro.
No, this is a very like the tribe is still living like this. They refuse to so you see Somalis were lucky that the Arabs mixed with them so that they became civilized. Otherwise, this would be a typical Somali today.
No, that's not true, bro. These people...
what is their shit? What is their population?
I think there's like a couple million of them still around. They still live like this. This is their culture.
Wait, they live in Ethiopia, right?
They're Ethiopians, yes. They are Ethiopians.
Oh, Ethiopians.
Why are they having mouth like this? Why are they having mouth like this? This is what they felt. This
is very like African. What do you mean?
What do you mean by who is this guy talking about very African, man?
You see, they remove the bottom two teeth so that the late plate can fit in their mouth to create like a little concave disc area. Do you see it there, Kidola? On the
why the government of Somalia is not? Why the government of Ethiopia is not saying don't do it? You ban
They don't want to help them. No, these guys don't want to change. They want to live like
this one without the plate in their mouth. I don't know the ones without plate in their mouth. You should change it.
Yeah. This is very African though. They follow African tradition. Good for them, you know.
Where are you from, bro? Are you Black American? Is it like you're Black American?
He's Somali.
No, I'm European.
No, you're Somali, brother. Be proud of your people and your race.
No. I am proud of it. I'm just saying.
No, bro, you're Somali.
Wait. Are you Kidola? Wait, is this guy Kidola? Wait, is this guy? Wait, is this guy Kidola? Are you Kidola?
Why are you asking for Kidola, man? You don't want to talk where you from? That you're Black American?
No, I am from Africa. I am from East Africa, Somalia. I am from the south.
Okay.
Somebody ain't from Africa.
Where are you from? Are you from Nigeria, bro? Or Ghana?
I'm from the Oyo State. I'm from the Oyo
State.
Nigeria.
The superior black. He's from a Yoruba stock.
Yoruba, okay.
Nigeria.
I'm the voodoo of all the Africans. You know, so I'm a voodoo looking person.
Wait. You're okay. I get it.
Yeah, here Yoruba. It's cool,
man. What those people? Did they have their own? Did Ethiopian government provide them a school education, or they just abandoned them like this?
You know, they still kill their children if they're born twins. They're still backwards people. So
they did that. Yoruba used to do that, and the Igbo used to do that, but they don't do it no more because
wait.
Yeah,
Who kills their babies because they're twins?
in,
Or
in
what?
Ethiopia, the Nilots that today they still kill their children if they're like born with the wrong teeth coming out first. Still kind of backwards. The government is helping them,
Barbaric. Oh my god.
fight
Yeah,
against
yeah,
it.
it's disgusting. Yeah, some of them even still do the what do you call it? Like with the albinos thing, how they cut off
What
the body parts.
what is this? What do you mean about the albinos thing?
The albinos, in some cases, and I don't know if this is all over or if this is just in certain parts of East Africa, but
No, it's Tanzania.
It's
Kenya,
Tanzania.
if you kill anyone, you get killed yourself. No, it's a backwards countries like Tanzania. They do kill albino children because they believe albino bones has special powers. So if you boil an albino, you can have money or big dick and stuff like that.
fucking craziness.
No,
Crazy.
guys, there's no way you said that.
It's sad.
Yeah,
Crazy.
no. This is our African culture, bro. We need to modernize. We need to get rid of the dust. We have so much dust in us.
See, that's the thing. But the thing is that some of them think they can modernize.
For example, let's say Ike was a pussy because he was born in Nigeria. If he really was gonna go and play life at the hardest rate, he would have been born in Tanzania. Those niggas are still backwards, man. But you see, Tanzanians have always been that way. There's a revolution in Tanzania called the Mai Rebellion, right? The Arab word for water, right? They call it Maji, right? So the water rebellion. So these niggas believe some ganga, right? Some witch doctor. Hey, take this oil, infuse it with the semen and shit. Put it in with the water and put it all of yourself. Like, wash in my bathe in my semen oiled water. And bullets,
No way.
Yo, man, I believe it.
I want to
like flies, man.
What?
So Tanzania's always had this extreme sort of notions on
What was that
spirituality.
for? They thought the bullets was going to shoot them. The bullets was
Yeah, they
going
thought
to
like
hurt.
German bullets would just bounce off them like once they bathe in a semen water oil. Yeah, 100%. It didn't work.
How many
man.
Kaiser, you want to say thank you to the British, the England, the Queen for getting rid of the dust and bringing Christianity over Kenya.
But see, that's the thing. That's my biggest problem. And this is what
Well,
you
there's no
what
Kenya,
you be
but-
saying shit,
yeah.
Kaizo. It's like you said these people come out and civilize them. Look, I don't have a problem with some outside ideas, but what I think is that we should just modernize the shit that we got now. So like the traditional shit that's in Africa, but just modernize it. Maybe you ain't got to cut the chicken's head off. You ain't got to kill an albino. You ain't got to put a disc in your lip. That shit can just be,
No,
things
we have to be honest, right? The white man did civilize us. We did. Look, let's be honest, right? In Kenya, like I mentioned, the only group of people that was civilized was the Wangas. The rest of these guys were running around butt naked,
Man,
shooting
come on, man.
hyenas.
Stop.
Okay, he's only
I'll
picked
tell
his ethnicity. Okay, Kaiser.
That was
Okay,
just like everybody else, bro.
Kaiser. I can tell
Everybody
you a
else,
few
yeah,
other.
Y'all cattle.
Like when I say this stuff, you guys think I'm like I'm a coon. I'm a hater. I'm anti-black.
No, but Kaiser, the Somalis
just saying
in
the
Kenya.
reality.
Wait,
The white
Kaiser,
man
the
did
Somalis
colonize
in
us.
Kenya were civilized. What do you mean? The only Wanga was civilized. It's not only
I didn't
One
even
Wanga.
was the only tribe with an actual leadership. Okay, fine. You had the let's say, okay, Boranas also had a centralized system, obviously, right? The Gada system, so they had something. But the other tribes, Kikuyu didn't even have like a centralized chief. You see what
No,
I'm
they
trying to say?
don't. They
had
didn't have
clan
a
elders.
system like that of leadership.
Okay.
No one had
They
that
just
in
had
Africa.
clan elders, not even a chief.
So
see what
y'all
I'm saying?
very small population, man, and y'all more inland, and y'all bantu.
James, man, do you
I'm
really
looking this
think
shit up
that
right
this
now,
is?
man. Look, I'm looking at
Go
this
ahead.
shit, bro. Look at that. Like I'm looking at y'all huts and everything like that. Y'all don't got shit. What you talking about? And plus, wasn't the what do you call it? Y'all probably got your political organization from the what are they called? The people in Rwanda. No, not Rwanda. Shit, what's that kingdom called? Burundi. So
No. You mean Uganda? That's what you mean.
Uganda. That's it.
You
That's
mean yeah, you mean Uganda.
Wait,
Yeah.
which group are you talking about? So James Corvus in East Africa, there was only a few relevant groups of civilizations. You had the Swahili coast,
Swahili, yup.
right? That was all the way from Mozambique, stretching into through Kilwa, Tanzania, all the way through Mombasa, Lamu, Kenya, into Kismayo, into Somalia, right? That was the Swahili coast, stretched multiple countries, right? That was an interesting, massive sort of trade network. Then also you had the the Baganda Kingdom in Uganda, one of the largest kingdoms here. In fact, the only kingdom in East Africa, by the way, that you'll still find that standing. The Habesha one failed; they kicked him out. Haile Selassie. So right now, the only standing kingdom is the Baganda Kingdom in Uganda. Then you had the Mapororo Empire that was comprising of the Bagandans as well as the Tutsis over there, right? The Tutsis definitely. Oh yeah, Barawa, yes, correct, Chilani, 100% over there. Then the Tutsis took control and they moved from Uganda because they couldn't obviously control the Bagandans, and they found the Hutus there. Hutus were a little bit, let's say, less developed in certain ways, right? Their cultures hadn't reached a certain peak yet. So that's why they took over.
Are
We did
Houthis
have
majority
empires, kingdoms, but most of them were just running around in the savannah chasing after hyenas. Right? That's what the Maasais were doing. These people are not civilized yet.
Okay, but what is a Tutsi? Is a Tutsi a Kushite or is it a Bantu?
No, Bantu mixed,
right?
yeah, Bantu mixed.
It's mixed. Tutsis from like Kagami, those people are mixed, right? So what happened is the southern Kushites were being pushed down by the Bantus, right? Because they came into Kenya. The Kikuyus married into them and those kinds of tribes like Kambas and stuff. And some of them are pushed into Tanzania. The only remaining proper southern Kushite tribe is the Iraq tribe in Tanzania. Even they don't even look Cushitic anymore. They look like Bantus, even though they're not mixed with the Bantus, which is interesting. They're mixed with the hunter-gatherers. So what happened with the southern Kushites, some of them realized that they were not powerful enough. So some of them started marrying into powerful groups of people. So they adopted a so-called Baganda-like language, right, from Uganda, and they formed the group there that for example, Julius, it's not Julius, what's his name? That nigga from Uganda, the president, I forgot his name, the low IQ one. What's that guy's name?
The current one, right? The current one?
Yeah, the current one. I forgot his name. So he's an example of the Ugandan Tutsis.
Wait, you're talking about Museveni?
Museveni, yeah.
Museveni.
Right. So what happened is, so Museveni's clan were the first real major Tutsi power in Uganda. Now, they realized that they could not take over Uganda because I mentioned there was about 4 competing kingdoms in Uganda. You had Uganda, you had the Karamojas were trying their own thing in the north, etc. You had the Mapororo. Then also you had the I forgot the name of this other kingdom, right? But it was a mixed kingdom in there. So they moved to Rwanda. They took over the Hutus and the Twa people.
Damn. That's crazy. That's crazy. So
they're mixed. They're mixed people. They're a mixture between Bantu, Nilote, and Southern Kushites. The Tutsis.
But here's what I want to know, man. So do you feel that certain groups of people, say like Arabs and like Europeans or whatever, that they're inherently
that's cute,
superior to, say, like anybody, not everybody on the continent, but like large swaths of people on the continent? Do you believe that?
We'll take care of it, sir. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I wasn't muted. Someone was showing me cute puppy pictures. But yeah, so James, go ahead, repeat your point of view.
Okay, so my thing is, like, do you feel, Kaizo, that people like Arabs or like English people or like any other type of European is inherently superior to people on the continent, or most?
Yes, of course. That's a fact.
Is that because of their culture, or is that because
culture? But culture is definitely culture is led by genetics to an extent, and some of it is environmental. They're obviously superior. This is a non-factor, James. We don't manufacture anything that's tradable in the global scale. We just got lucky that we have land that can grow cocoa. We got lucky that we got land that has gold veins, but we can't even mine the gold ourselves. So yes, they are obviously superior. That's not even a question about it. The question is a superiority transtemporal? Is it ingrained in their genetics, or is it something that we can catch up? So I think culturally they have a better culture than us when it comes to success. Again, we have to put this into like defining factors, right? Do we value what they have? Do you want it? If we want it, then yes, we have to understand we are definitely not equipped as well as them to succeed in the same world as them. I mean, do you disagree?
No. I agree culturally. I don't think it's inherent as in way of like genetically. Like if I put 2 people on an island, one is white, one is black, and all they know is that island, Yeah, I don't think the white one is going to be better than the black one. But when it comes to culture, yeah, definitely. Well, when it comes to like, well, they have more resources. When it comes to not necessarily, what's that term that's used? Where it's like physical capital and there's human capital. So they have more education. They have more resources in how to extract things that they need to do, instead of, as opposed to like having, you know, physical resources that can just be exploited by people who are not educated and don't know what to do. But the governments in some of these
James,
countries,
it's more than education, right? Like I said,
Right.
Africa. Let me use Kenya as Kenya is a bad example since they don't have resources, right? But Nigeria has extremely intelligent people who's even won Nobel Prizes. Nigeria's got high IQ people that are teaching at Kenyan universities. Again, talk about oil engineering and all of that around the world. We've got Ike over here, who's a millionaire, etc. Africans are in extremely high IQ. The issue is not whether Africans are high IQ, is that Africans have an inferior culture that doesn't prioritize perfection, pursuit of truth, knowledge, information. That's the difference. An African culture is all about, who do I know? Who can I, lick their ass so that I can get my people into power? That's it. So our African culture is just inferior in the sense that it's not seeking perfection or to understand things at a deeper level. It's not the individual Africans. I mean, for example, look at me. My IQ is 143. I'm literally a genius, right? So Africans can have high IQ. It's just culturally. Look, I'll give you an example, James. If I made shows on high IQ topics, I'll get two people in the stream, myself and my left toe watching the show. That's a perfect example. Say that again, James.
I'll probably watch it too.
Okay, yeah. I guess it would be me, you, my left toe. Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, your right hand. There you go.
Yep, and exactly. Shout out. You guys hate on Wangers, right? Omanyala, a shout out to my twin. Yes, we do look alike. He's the fastest African on the planet. Not some dusty ass Yoruba or Igbo or West African. Kenya's got the best of everything. We got the fastest long distance runners. We got the fastest short distance runners. So clearly, that region definitely got an. Yes, of course, I call myself a genius, Jeanette. That's a fact, right? It's like if I was a model and I won the top model, of course come on. Obviously, I'm a genius, Jeanette. Respect yourself. Yeah, go ahead. We got a new panelist, Safe Mode. What's good, brother or sister? I'm assuming you're a brother, though. So go ahead. What's your conversation? What do you want to add on? Safe Mode, is your microphone working?
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you. So go ahead. The mic is yours. What do you think? What do you like about the conversation? Where do you want to add? And go ahead. Mic is yours.
About the superiority or inferiority that you were talking about recently, I was going to ask, push back on that and say, how could you say that they are inherently superior to us when they themselves even? I don't know if you've ever heard about the Ules tribe, those people that live in Turkey that still walk on four legs. How could you say that they are, inherently more superior to us, and they haven't even managed to walk upright,
Yeah. So, okay. So, Safe Mode, where are you from? Which country? What tribe? What's your affiliation?
For sure. Yeah, I'm from Sudan. I'm from the Choli tribe.
You're Arab? Do you identify as Arab?
He's a Choli. A Choli is a Nilotic tribe. I'll have to listen. He's a Choli. A Choli is a Nilotic tribe. Okay, that's interesting. Safe Mode. So, question here is this, right? Let me ask you. You're a South Sudanese, right?
Of course. Well, I'll just say Sudanese is all in general.
Okay, Sudanese. Okay, fine. Here's the thing. What happened when you guys dislodged yourselves against the Arabs in the north? Did your country become rich, or did you guys become one of the poorest countries within 5 years?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like, from your perspective, I guess you could say we became not that great, but as well, it's like our people are not really like everybody else. Like we're not materialistic people. So of course it looks like that from outsider looking in. But from a spiritual point, from that's what we are. It's like I guess we kind of became
Okay,
more
so
spiritually sound
yeah,
since
so
we don't have to worry about things like that.
yeah, let me chime in safe mode. And thank you very much for your contribution. I do respect that. I love Acholi people, right? They were part of the the Ugandan empire, right? I'm a Ugandan supremacist. So the interesting thing here, right, about what you just stated is, and I've stated this before, it's just I speak in so much jargon that it gets lost in the meaning. Africans are not well equipped to deal with the materialistic superstructure that the Western hegemony created, meaning we are not good at competing at the same level about the same stuff when it comes to dealing with government structures, success, management, organization, as well as technological advancement. So you agree with that part. You're just saying Africans value different things. And I agree with you. But when you talk about inferiority or superiority, we're talking about that specific thing: technology, advancement, and adding value into the greater globalism. So yes, I think you just agreed with me. You basically said Africans, or let's say the Acholi people and the Anwar and the Anwak and the Dinka, who comprise of the majority of South Sudan, this group of people just don't value, the stuff that the Western countries value. But they do, except they do. Why? Because you buy their cars, right? You buy their technologies. You build your houses according to their own standards. So how are you going to come against me on that point? Go ahead, brother.
So yeah, what you said is really good. I definitely do agree from your perspective. What you said is not, it's not 100% incorrect at all. I'm not like saying your point is invalid at any time in any kind of way. All I'm saying is that when you try to replicate something that's not meant for you, there's always going to be kind of like a pushback, like we all come from rich cultures, from different backgrounds, and we all try to preserve these things because these things are what made us who we are till this day. We're shaped in that way, in a way. So yeah, like you said, of course, these people are better at technology, better at success than us, but at but we've been here for thousands and thousands of years. Like they're still kind of new to the planet. Let's see who outlives who. Like, do we really need these things in the future? Like, like from their point of view, they're like 6,000 years old. If you believe in the Bible, white people are like about 6,000 years old. Africans are like older than that. So I guess only time could tell who would outlive who in the future, basically, and whose ideas you know, uh, will rule the world forever.
Yeah, interesting point of view. So basically, interpreting what he's saying to everybody else listening, he's basically mentioning the fact that Africans generally have, let's say, superiority in substance. An example is melanin, right? Melanin makes you superior to non-melanated people when it comes to sunlight exposure. So even if you went to space, places like Mars or other countries where the UV radiation is stronger because there's no, guess what? They don't have atmosphere. Darker skinned melanated people will have an advantage in those countries. He's also talking about the disease and all that kind of stuff. And, okay, fair enough. It's an interesting point of view, but I'll say this, right? The big bad Bantus, right? And the big bad Nilotes, right? These guys got lost to the Arabs because the Arabs came in with technology. So at the end of the day, your physical superiority can only take you so far. But yeah, we got one man. I don't know if the co-host wants to make a point. Go ahead, guys. Make sure you like this show. If you like it, make sure you super chat, enjoy, and support Black and African media. That's the only way we're going to grow. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I only really came in to say to Safe Mode, not to let you browbeat him with these pre-packaged words that all these pre-rehearsed narratives that you are, trying to weigh down on. Don't yield to Kaizo. It's trolling you essentially. I cannot even begin to think. How are you concluding that inferiority complex that you're trying to promote towards Black people? You are using parameters that are essentially Western parameters to ascertain that there's some sort of superiority in intellect. You are telling me, for instance, let me use myself as an example. There is nobody outside of my culture that can out-culture me in that culture. So that's essentially what you're saying, that because the Black person cannot out-culture the Western culture in their culture, then therefore they're inferior. I mean, what sort of upside down warped logic is that?
Okay, great point. So let me go in a roundabout way of answering your question, right? So I've mentioned that I think Cushitic women are the most beautiful women on the planet, right? All these dusty Nigerians and the Kenyans and the Ethiopians are like, oh no, guys will say hater, all this stuff, self-fade, all this nonsense, right? When I say Cushitic women are the most beautiful women, it's simply a fact based on my own observation. Doesn't mean that I'm creating a narrative, a larger narrative that everybody else sucks at every other junction and parameter. What I'm trying to say is this, right? African people have a culture that is lower IQ than white people. That's a fact. It doesn't mean that I think white people are superior in every advent.
No. That's not a fact, though.
Saying,
So
right?
that's where I want to pause you.
Boy,
Because
boy. That shit was
no,
your opinion, bro.
No. You're okay. Go on.
No. It's like he's making a weird argument right now because Kaizo said that
Making an upside down argument,
Right. He's saying that that's a fact, but like, no, it's an opinion. Like,
well, from my opinion, right? You guys don't listen, and that's what I
That
mean
is
by
an
low
opinion.
IQ. I literally said it's a fact from my opinion, James. But you see, that's the low IQ African.
Let me just say this, Kaizo.
Oh, I didn't hear my opinion part.
Yeah. So the parameters which you're using to make the judgment will determine the result. And this is just the example that your narrative is right there. So if you're using, you're saying, oh, they've not advanced in technology, they've not advanced in all of this scientific progression, which necessarily will ameliorate living and evolve you as a people. And because there's no recordings of those advancements within the African sphere, especially within the black cusp, then by osmosis, then you extrapolate that to conclude that they're inferior beings. It's just warped logic. Because of course,
hang on one man. That's what I want to correct. I don't think Africans are inferior beings, and that's why I use the analogy of me thinking Cushitic women are the most beautiful in the world. It's just one
that's
parameter.
your subjective view, though. Fat bottom girls, I will tell you that fat bottom girls are the best, but that's depending on your picadillo.
A good face for me is nicer than a fat bottom. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this, right? So one man, what you've stated, thank you very much for that point you made, is the narratives. I'm not a pro-narrative person. I'm basically autistic. So when I say stuff, there is no narrative coming through. So when I say Europeans are superior to us in intellect, that's all that means. It doesn't mean they're superior to us everywhere else.
Yeah, yes, no, but even I'm contending even that. I'm contending even that. The European advancement is a conglomeration of all of world's knowledge that is now manifesting in their creation because they're occupying space at the moment. The numbers came out of Persia, which is Iran, the wheel, which is the first thing that's of scientific note that came somewhere out of Africa. The number 0 came out of Afghanistan. So without all of these tools that come together to form global knowledge, then we will not be where we are. So for you then to concede all of these things to, I don't know, man, is it that blonde girl that you fancy that you need? Is that where they started? You can't just. I'm aghast. There's all these things you say.
Interesting. So, okay, I think there's a little bit of copium. So, as I stated, one man, I do think that there are some extremely high IQ African descended people. You're an example of that. Ike is an example of that. I am obviously an example. Even James, Andre, when he's not being emotional and has taken his period pills, he's also kind of high IQ, etc. So there are high intelligent black people.
Sorry, Kaizo, to interrupt you. Let's set parameters. What are the parameters of your conclusion? So set the parameters of your conclusion so we know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah.
There are many extremely high IQ black people. In fact, I think Africa has more. There's a higher chance of finding the most high IQ people in Africa, but also you have a chance of finding the lowest IQ people in Africa. Africa is simply diverse, and we didn't breed a culture that prioritizes high IQ people to be in power and in control, and that's why we've led to developing less things and having more positive influence on the global market. So basically, our culture.
Can I push you on that? Because you can't build on that, because that is factually not true. the way the African society is structured is completely different from the way other every society unique and peculiar to itself, and because I think you are looking at it from a scientific prism, and then an evolution in terms of how science evolves a standardized life and evolves a better quality life. I think that's probably where you are looking at it. But there are cultures that look towards different set of parameters to assess how life is being lived.
Correct.
So
And
if
they
you are
fail.
looking at it from that Western prism, then you can leap to the conclusions that you've already chosen
Okay,
to leap
so one
to.
man, why are
But
you not in
that's
Nigeria?
not. Huh?
I agree with you. These other cultures are losers, though. Why are you not in Nigeria? Why are you in the UK? Because you prefer the
Who
Western
told you I'm
system.
in the UK? Yeah. I've not disclosed my location to you.
You have
Look
a
at
nice
it.
house. The houses like that don't exist in other places. So we know you're in the UK, one man. You have a UK British high elite African accent. We all know this. So why do you prefer the Western system? In fact, if I'm being called the coon here, or at least being analyzed and categorized as the coon, right? Why am I the one who risked my life, literally, to go back and live with my fellow monkeys?
Yeah, it's black exploitation, isn't it? You're not the hero here. You're a white guy in Kenya looking to exploit them with your accent. That's just what it is. You've used your accent to go and live an European life in Kenya because so don't come here playing that card. But no, if you look at certain sort of cultures, they value they value the hegemony of.
One second. We have an African here who will say something. Am I using my accent to exploit Africans?
Well, you are, aren't you? Is that not what you're doing in Kenya?
I came here to help free my people by helping them build businesses.
You're a
Understanding of high
colonizer in Kenya. We all know that. Do you think we don't know? We do know. Okay, come on, Kaizo. You're a colonizer in Kenya. Are you not? There to exploit the natives as they do. The usual the template that the British created and all that.
Would you rather be colonized by your own people or by a foreign force?
I would rather be colonized by a foreign force because then I can see the direct opposition to me. It's like being stabbed in the back, being colonized by yours.
I bet you believe in Jesus too, right?
Well, I believe in what I believe in. I believe in a better tomorrow. That's what I believe in.
Okay, so you believe in Jesus. Okay, that's why you in the UK.
Who told you I'm in the UK? I'm in a place called You Are Laughing, which is where God came from. If you know
what God? Not the God in the Bible, right?
If you know the etymology of Orunmila, you want me to take you through Yoruba history because that's my favorite.
I know.
One man. There is actually a tribe in Kenya called the Luyas, right? And they actually have the same naming system as Yorubas. So you guys might be related to them, right? They call things Omo, Olua, all those same system, God practices, ancient tradition. You should look into them. These might be your lost Kenyan cousins. They call the Luya tribe.
Okay. Yeah, we spread very far and wide. You know they have this term. Of course, this Yoruba demon thing in London. That every girl that goes by, you make sure you.
One man. One man, do you think that Yorubas are the best Africans and the most intelligent? Because when you talk about Africans,
I'm prejudiced, So what else would I say?
I hear that in you. I can tell.
Right.
You think that Yorubas are great, and you talk a lot about Yoruba and how you think they're so good people.
It's only because the history is so rich and the achievements so visible. Do you know the term filial piety? Do you know the term filial piety? The Chinese do you know that?
No, was
okay,
it Chinese?
Do you know Confucius? Do you know Confucius?
Chinese society.
Right. So the Chinese society is predicated upon something called filial piety. It's a tripod that forms the philosophy and ideology of that society. So respect for your culture, respect for your parents, respect for your ancestry. That is the filial, just from memory, that's filial piety. So that's the Chinese structure. And their society is built on that. That is why they have this suicide thing when they lose honor. So the one thing you must defend is the family name.
So one minute. Let me add in here because I think
filial piety is not working in China right now.
Yeah, one second, James. Let me just make my point quickly, then you can go ahead. So I think this is the aspect where narratives sometimes dirty or muddy the waters. As I use a Cushitic example there, right? It doesn't mean I think they're the smartest people in the world just because I think they're women, specifically the women are the most beautiful. Doesn't mean I think that's the same for intellect. Doesn't mean I think that's the same for culture. Doesn't mean I want to be part of that culture or intellectually, arguing with them. So I'm very precise about my language and terminologies, right? I simply like the women. That's it. So when I say the white man's intellectual culture, hang on, just 1 second. So when I say I like the white man's culture of intellectualism, that's all that is, right? The reason I'm in Kenya right now and not in the UK is because I don't like the work culture in the UK. I don't like their culture. So there's aspects that I like and I respect, and there's aspects I don't like and I respect. I just don't talk about the ones I don't like or respect because it's not going to be engaging for me to be a booty clapper. But in reality, I'm just saying in terms of intellectualism, the culture, not the individuals, it's clear, for example, in Africa, in Timbuktu, it was the highest IQ culture in that region. That's a non-negotiable, non-debatable standard. You can't say my dusty village in Wanga was equivalent to the intellectualism going on in Mali, for example. So I think we just have to be honest about the intellectual. We got to be honest. But anyways, we got a new panelist, Ike. I don't know if one man wants to go first.
Yes, let me just quickly round off just that question, and then I'll quickly yield to Ike, of course, who everybody wants to hear from, including myself. So I cited that filial piety only to land on that the Yoruba space has an ideological strand as well, which is called the Omoluabi system. So that is how we build our society. It's called an Omoluabi structure. And that loosely because the Yoruba language is essentially spoken in nuance. So it doesn't really translate into any other language. It loses its resonance when you translate it. But that Omoluabi loosely means a civilized person. And that is how we structure our society. So I cited that filial piety. And then I'm also going to cite the Jewish culture. And if you ask the average Yoruba person, they will probably tell you that in terms of intellect, they are only really in contention with the Jews and the Chinese to see who the smartest people on the planet are. So that's just yeah.
Right. Okay, very, very interesting point there, and I'll get back to that. We got two new panelists. We got Ike and also King. I don't know if that's King Shanad or someone else. But yeah, go ahead, Ike. The floor is yours.
I just wanted to come in between, what you and one man were talking about. And what?
I was New York fruity.
Hey, I mean, I keep on admitting it in the chat that I do gay shit. That's why I'm in San Francisco. However, anyways, the point is so one man, you don't disagree with Kaizo insofar as he is being precise. You mentioned, he's being scientific. You mentioned he's using certain parameters, and also he's agreeing that these parameters are not all that there are. And well, first of all, what is your reaction to that? Because I don't see the disagreement. And so if I look with a particular lens, which is the lens that I look through most of the time, and I see the precision here with him saying, I'm going to pick these parameters and materialist, blah 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 blah, so organizational structure, blah blah blah. And if that's what matters, which it tends to matter, right? It does kind of matter. Then these people are superior in that regard. Is there a disagreement there? And by that, I mean empirically, just observation wise.
Yeah. Can I jump in? What's it called? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Then I'll come after you. You go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like you said, like we're not totally disagreeing we're not totally disagreeing. We could obviously see that there's certain advances in this new culture of, I guess you could say, the Europeans. But my thing is, and also probably from an African point of view, is like all these things that you attribute to the whiteness, the intellectual properties of it, it all kind of stems from the same place. We could also say Egyptians had or Africans in Egypt had the greatest civilization till this day. They had about 30, 34, 33 dynasties, and that lasted all throughout Africa. And obviously, we can't go back in time and say, hey, like, we did this too back in the day. But to say that basically, like, well, we prefer the white man's culture because it's better. It's like, they obviously can't, like, most of the things that they learned actually came from the same place that you're looking down on, or saying that they're superior to us in that form, in that regard, I guess.
Yeah. So one man, before you go, and again, these are not my points, right? I'm just looking at two objects on the table, and it is clear 100% that the historical knowledge generally kind of developed, in my kind of point of view, via the Mediterranean Sea exchange, right? Whether it be from North Africa or other parts of Africa, and then you have, the Phoenicians and the Greeks and the Romans conquering each other, passing the baton, if you will, from one to the other, right? The Arabs holding on to Aristotle while the Europeans were in the Dark Ages and all that kind of stuff. This is basic kindergarten stuff. We all understand that this is kind of a intellectual patrimony that kind of went down through history. No one person can claim ownership of that particular baton, right? However, if in a particular time somebody has succeeded in gathering all this to their advantage and organized themselves to beat you with this particular baton over the head, it is fine to say, insofar as this baton goes and its manifestations, right, politically, technologically, so on and so forth, this person is better at it, without going transtemporal or other dimensions, into other dimensions of culture or spiritual or whatever it may be. And it seems like if one admits to that, then the point becomes moot, right? It just becomes, okay, sure. It's just like a historical fact. Yeah, sure. They have the baton right now, and I don't have it. I did not create, or as he said, and I did not have a culture that emphasized certain types of things that would put me in a position to have taken that baton and be the one that's wielding it right now. Give me a couple more generations, maybe I will get there. So there's no argument, and then we can get back into venerating the Yoruba culture and all that kind of stuff. What do you say to that?
All right. Let me start by saying this, and I think this is really the hub of the matter. If you are smarter than them, how come they all enslaved you? So that's really where we're coming from. If you are smarter than them, how come they all enslaved you? So I feel the parameters within which Kaizo is presenting his narrative is skewed already to the conclusion that he wants to arrive at. It's a curated logic. It's curated logic. It's not organic. It's not a logical sequencing. It's a curated logic. So you already predetermine, and then you pad the logic up to build up to that predetermination. So this idea that these people are more intellectually acute than not, or more intellectually
culture one, man. You keep forgetting the main thing isn't them as individuals, but the fact that they have created a culture that allows for outliers to create and independently. They've gone through all those reigns. For example, Galileo was, whatever happened to him because he was fighting against the ancient Roman, Christian Empire. So we haven't reached that point whereby we see
Kaiser,
value.
is Galileo the guy that had recognized the gravity? He's like the first. Is that him?
Gravity, more to do with go ahead.
Heliocentrism, the sun being the center, as opposed to the earth being the center of everything.
Instead of Earth being the center of Earth, right? So I guess you cannot lie about this, right? Why do Yorubas do well in the UK and own all the airports in the UK, and out earn everybody there and have high IQ children. The youngest kids in universities are Yoruba and Igbos in the UK, more so than the whites, the Chinese, and the Asians. But why can't they do that in Nigeria? It's because
Yeah,
the
but
culture,
you've already
right?
said it now. No, it's not the culture. We're talking about an interrupted people. We're talking about arrested development. So that's what we're talking about. If you look at the configuration of Black Africa, um, it's a narrative of arrested development. So it's a culture that was interrupted for several centuries and then was aligned in a way that is alien and foreign to itself, and is now within that alignment trying to take some sort of formation. So it's a narrative of arrested development. And those examples that you've cited actually runs contrary to the point that you are making. So now, if you have and it's not just the isolated outlier, it's the abundance of the preponderance of almost everybody that lives, let me speak from the Nigerian space, that lives in Nigerian space to an international space, they to medium to excellence always achieve, either at a at a medium level, or often instances at an excellent level. So that tells you then that there is no lack of mental acuity within that space. There is no lack of creative thinking within that space, and there is no lack of an understanding of a structuring of a society within that space. But what you do have is this arrested development, which has now been configured into something that is alien and foreign to the space, but that space is trying to grapple with. Nigeria, as an example, an abundance of 200 and odd ethnicity being plunked together by force to form a nation. So that balancing is what we're seeing now. So it's nothing to do with a lack of mental acuity, low intellect. In fact, where we are now, it shows a superiority of intellect. And I was just saying in a session just yesterday, that the world is about to enter a Nigerian age, and that is what will replace the American hegemony. And note that down and laugh if you like, but I'm telling you now that rebalancing is now reaching its crescendo, and what happens next is that the world is going to enter a black age, which will be a Nigerian age.
Again, I don't see any. Obviously, this is not all about me, right? But I don't see any difference between, I don't see any disagreement. There is a difference. Somebody is saying one thing, someone is saying the other thing. In other words, Kaizo said, hey, we haven't gone through this particular stage. Well, I know. Someone saying, Kaizo says, I haven't gone through a particular stage. And you say, hey, arrested development. I see no contradictions in those two things, right? Basically saying, hey, you're just basically saying the same thing that they haven't gone through. Now, if one were to listen from the outside, right, and have some type of value, in other words, these people, because of arrested development, of these people, because they haven't gone through a particular stage, I'm going to cast some shadow, some kind of color over them that gives them less worth. They are less the sons of God or something like that. Then yes, that's what I understand why. In other words, are we trying to speak about those people, to those people, or are we trying to protect the masses from Kaizo's bad propaganda, so that they don't all of a sudden start looking at these people with arrested development as bad necessarily? Because again, these are just kind of like historical facts. This gate has not been passed through. Well, why or when, it doesn't really matter, and there's no point to. I don't put any shade of value over it. And Kaizo does make this one issue, though, in the sense that let me not mention it, because it doesn't really matter and it'll complicate the whole issue. But one man and or anyone that wishes to chime in, I don't see the difference between what one man said and what Kaizo just said. Kaizo says, hey, these Yoruba people, Igbo people, whatever they may be, they go outside, they excel. But within Nigeria, okay, a particular set of stages have not been passed through within that construct, within the group systems, such that it can harness the best of the people in a certain way. And one man agrees and says it has been arrested, and says, hey, the new age is coming soon. So this, in my opinion, to go back to my main point, takes all the air out of Kaizo's point. I don't think Kaizo's trying to put any air in it because he's saying there is no narrative. Narrative here I'm replacing with air. He's not trying to put some kind of helium in there and say, hey, this is, it's like he's just making the same point you're making.
Sorry, Ike. What Kaizo is trying to, at least how I understood what Kaizo is trying to say or to infer, is that that's the black person necessarily has a genetic flaw, which diminishes them in whatever it is that he was describing. And I'm not, my counter argument is that quite the direct opposite. The black person, certainly the African, does not have any genetic flaw. It was an interrupted person that is now coming back on his feet. So that's
Okay,
that's really
so let me.
I think he said inherited. That's where the whole conversation came from. He said it's inherited. That's why we were like, how it can't really be 100% inherited because and that's where the conversation came from.
Well, overall, and sorry, Kaiser, I know you wanted to interject here, and this gets into a particular corner, which is, we're not trying to do PhDs in anthropology or evolutionary biology here, but there is no neat separation between what is typically called genetics and the quote unquote extended phenotype. The extended phenotype is your culture, right? And over long enough times, these things obviously interact with each other, right? Especially for one, through sexual selection. Sexual selection, I'm just using as an example of the most immediately visible style. If a group prefers a particular kind sexually, it will become their genetics a few generations down the line, right? So you cannot neatly separate these things, but there's no point to get to this kind of a obtuse place. But I have a question for one man and whomever. Do you believe that in terms of intellectual capacity, there can be the differences between the averages of intellectual capacity of groups? Not that not everyone is smarter than the other. Of course, that's silly. I like to talk about the Filipinos, for example. Like there are many Filipinos that can jump higher than black people, but the average will make it such that when you go to the NBA, everybody, when you go to extremes of the bell curve, right? When you go to the end of the bell curve, everybody in the NBA is going to be black, right? There are some Albanians that can run faster than many East Africans. But when you go to the edge of the bell curve, again, the difference in the gap of the average in the middle of the bell curve doesn't really matter that much. But when you're looking for extremes, all of a sudden you're dealing with only a sparse population. So, but the question does remain though: do you believe that there can be a difference in? We just talked about physical traits, right? So there's differences in these physical traits, right? And it's a small difference in the average, but then it becomes heavily pronounced in the extremes. Another example, again, and I hate to overkill it with examples, but because I'm using a visual thing about the bell curve and we don't have a bell curve to look at, blah, 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 for the audience, that is, for the audience, right? And another example is, aggressiveness between men and women. There are many women that are more aggressive than men, and the average man and the average woman, the difference in the aggression is not very different. But when you go to the extremes, because of that small shift in mean in the bell curve, at the extremes, all of a sudden you're going to find that all the violent offenders are men, right, and so on and so forth. So, do you think now in the intellectual realm you can have such a difference in the average, in the mean of populations, or a different kind of distribution, such as, for example, Kaiser talked about maybe I think it's called a dumbbell distribution, where you have many more dumb people and many more smart people, as it tends to be, for example, with men, where there are many dumb men and many smart men. Men are kind of have a flatter curve and so on. So again, to just ask the question, go ahead.
I think intellectually it's kind of just different. Intellectually, it's a whole different realm than running faster or jumping higher. Because even Kaizo gave an example earlier of people. I think they're called the Mursi tribe, and he was saying that these people are savages. But then he also just gave an example of the Yoruba people who are doing really good in the UK. So it's like two things can't exist at the same time. There's people who can live savagely and people who could also be intellectually savvy. The thing is also, just by saying that, it's like it's not like it's not trying to blank. You can't like really blanket everybody when it comes to intellectual, because intellect is something that, you know, it's part of the culture. You know, it's, depending on the culture, it's like, you know, that's how you are shaped. And like we were talking earlier, like not everybody values the same thing intellectually. Not everybody wants to drive a Ferrari or drive a plane. Some people want to maybe just sit in a hut and just have a good tea. You know, like that's what other people
So,
value. So yeah.
let's say,
Sorry,
just
can I
before
can I
one
come in?
man. No, just 1 second, one man. Just
Oh,
before you
I
go
want to
ahead.
go
Steve.
after one man.
Okay, yeah. So I give a simple example is the Habesha culture, right? So I was in Ethiopia for a couple of years, and I really didn't like their culture that much. Why? All they do is sit around drinking coffee, talking about God and all that stuff. I don't like that. They meet their family members all the time, their mothers, their uncles, their aunts. Everyone is so involved with each other's lives. So for me, that culture isn't it for me, right? But I've been around, let's say, more cultures that are more individualistic, and I like that. So yeah, you are right. There's different cultures, there's different preferences, but I will say this safe mode, right? And what I'm going to say won't be understandable, but I'm not even saying that transtemporally, meaning across time, aka let's say the future, that Africa's cultural preferences won't be the ideal because of the specific selection pressures at that timeline. So what we're trying to say is we're analyzing things at the last 400 years where so-called white supremacy has instantiated itself based on the renaissance that they had in Europe. I'm trying to say who knows what technology will do, who knows which factors, or let's say um, traits or characteristics that we have collectively is going to either be preferred or not preferred, right? So time, culture, technology, all that stuff has an impact. I'm not saying that we are, let's say, inferior across time. I'm just saying, based on the stuff that we claim we value, healthcare, technology, school, clearly the West has it better than us. That's what I'm saying right now.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like I said, I was not disagreeing with you. I was just trying to say, like, out of the whole broad scope of like Africa in general, it's like you can't just blanket everybody and say that, you know, just because the Mursi tribe does not value technology, that maybe, you know, the Kikuyu, um, uh, you know, value technology. It's like, you know, you get what I'm trying to say, basically.
All right. If I can go back to the poser that Ike put forward, there are two types of intelligence. There are two strands by which you want to be looking at it. There's the intuitive intelligence, which is innate and fundamental. It's just is baked into your DNA. And then there's the cultured and there's the tutored intelligence, which is something that comes from practice, and then it's then availed to a mass to have it as the template of ways of doing things. So there's the intuitive intellect, and then there's the cultured, the nurtured, and the tutored intelligence. So those are two strands. So now to the medium or the average intellect really that I suppose are so cutting across okay, let's use the Western and African divide. The average African person is by far and quantumly so more intelligent than the average Western person.
Okay,
That meanwhile,
so I don't mean to. It's just a marker. I just want to mark because it's an important part of my question you have answered so far, which is you're saying yes to the fact that not only physical traits. To me, this is like a foregone conclusion, right? Not only physical traits are going to be different amongst just separated groups that are separated and evolve separately over time geographically and such, but also some of these, shall we call it intellectual, whether it be from the point of view of this intuitive stuff or such and such. Or you may even think, hey, the average Yoruba person or the Yoruba person in general has a different kind of curve shift, bell curve than someone else. So the first aspect is yes. So go ahead.
well, the first aspect really speaks for itself, because even on this screen, we is being a sentient being is essentially what you're talking about, isn't it? As sentient beings, we function, think, feel all of these things differently. So implicitly, that's fundamentally the case. So, but that is not really racially so or culturally so. But where I was going is that the average African person is quantumly more intelligent than the average Western person. We've seen several anecdotal examples of this in all of our individual lives to know that is just something we've all observed. But the spike in high intellect that you see in the Western space that creates this society that they live in and a lot of people look to emulate. So that spike is a high level of function, but and that spike as well, that high functioning, probably 0.0001% of their human space that brings the creative knowledge, the mental acuity to formulate that structured society and have all of these innovations in science and maybe even culture. So that 1%, that 0.001% that creates the society that then templates it for them to auto live in is not unique or peculiar to a Caucasian skin. So you have those percentiles in pretty much every culture. The differential is that they have been able to harness them as an entity which they can use to structure their society, and the society then goes along that template. But that harnessing has not yet taken place within the African space. And why is that? Arrested development.
100%. I like it. I like it. I like it. And then I'll let you take over, Kaizo, and go to the next person. So basically, again, similar to what Kaizo said regarding, even though Kaizo used more, shall we say, intuitive and flowery language regarding the harnessing of the outliers, right? And then placing those in a position to shine and lead, such that in now adding to your point, such that it will add to the increase in that aspect of intelligence, which is learned and so on and so forth. Not to repeat what you said, right? So you've kind of said, okay, yeah, okay, I get it. Makes sense.
Yeah, basically, one man is a booty clapper for blacks. He wants to share positive things so that we can rise. And I'm a realist, hyper realist, who thinks of who speaks with less flowery languages.
Look. You're also, here's the thing again. You're also a booty clapper, right? For blacks, right? But it's just a question of like, you don't really care about the narrative. You don't care about somebody who hears what you says and goes, "Oh my God, he says you." But one man maybe cares a little bit more about that, right?
Good point. Yeah, no, you're right. I do all I do is booty clap. You're right.
Wait. I just
I want the gathering to form an orderly line behind that build up to that the Black Age led by the Nigerians and the Yorubas. So that's the Black Project, the Black Age.
One moment. I want you to answer this for me. You know, when it comes to like education with the Yorubas and Igbos, they do good in the Western world when it comes to like they do better than like native born people. Is it extreme? Maybe on average, you won't see that among Yoruba. Intellectually education, like they don't do as good. But do you think the few who are doing good, do you think they're the extreme? They're not the average is not there. What do you think, man?
No. I think it's a cultural thing. Where we're coming from, you have to be educated to excel. There is no middle class in Nigeria. That's just the thing. So it's either you succeed or you fall to the bottom of the street and you slug it out. And the chasm between wealth and comfort and discomfort is quite harsh. So it's a battle for survival that really propels these people to the top of whichever pyramid they find themselves in, America, UK, etc. So, and of course, they are intuitively smart as well, but not much so. Like, if you look at the average Black American, for instance, he's been 500 centuries, however many centuries, regurgitating within that system, and is rested into some sort of a plateau within that system. But if you look at the average Nigerian person, fresh off the banana boat, he's not going to come out of that to come into this and then only to go to the bottom of that society. No, he's going to fight tooth and nail to go to the top. And that phase that we're seeing at the moment. So we're seeing the second generation of the Windrush. We call them the Windrush generation in this country. I don't know what they call them in the fresh of the boaters. So we're seeing the second generation and then now the third generation. But that carryover of that mindset is still embedded generation wide. So I hope that's not too convoluted, but that's how I can just maybe Ike has better words for that.
Yeah. But why isn't it the phenomenon happening in Nigeria, but it happens in the West? You know, where you find Nigerians.
Go ahead, beat him with your intuitive stick. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Why is it?
Because and it is happening in Nigeria, by the way. The cream always rises to the top. Wherever the cream always rises to the top. So the cream rises to the top too. And by the way, I'm not sure. I'll encourage you to visit Nigeria because it's a fast developing space. I'm being developed, by the way, by Nigerians. So the place is evolving, but the opportunities are not as abundant as they are outside. So I mean, what do you want me to say? Yeah. Does that answer you in a roundabout sort of way? I'm not quite sure I addressed what you said.
You have when it comes to opportunity in Nigeria, it's different compared to the West. I agree with you on that. You know, the West might have like a insane amount of opportunity, even for the average person. Maybe in Nigeria, you got to be the extreme. You know, you got to be the best to succeed. It's a very challenging society. You know, you got to be really good intellectually, and you have to have your education to the perfect. You know, to be the leader of that, you know, society, to be looked up on.
No, interesting.
So sorry, Ike. How would you address? I can't quite see your name. What's his name? This Dot. Are you calling you Dot? Hashtag.
No, my name is Andre.
Yeah. Well, so Ike, how would you address because I'm not quite sure I tackled it in quite the way, but I want to hear what you have to say to what Andre put forward.
I think that at the end point of what he's getting at is your point about arrested development and Kaizo's point about a structure not having formed around the best that focuses on the best, hence making it creating opportunities for all those others that are more towards the middle of the bell curve and maybe even lower, right? So in such a system, in such a place, the outliers, only the outliers can really succeed, right? So the outliers have to do what they do, as you mentioned, right? You have to rise to the top or you're going to fall to the bottom. And this all has to do with the fact that my particular kind of a way of looking at it is I like to talk about chaos all the time. So if you take, for example, the Ojukus of the world or the Tafawa Balewas, the Awolowas, those people whom were handed the keys to a nation that they did not build, that was a disaster. It is part of your arrested development story, obviously, because we're talking about colonization, right? But if there was an actual, shout out to Snake Man, Nigerian Thunderdome, naturally occurring, where each was allowed to compete, right, to create, and then Ojuku will be a man known for something, as opposed to he went to some stupid school somewhere and came back and did some stupid shit and then ran away, right? So our elites, beginning, if we just take it from the 1960s point here, from the point of nationhood, if you will, are not even elites at all. Because elites really should be, or should arise from a contest, conquest, real stuff. This is the guy that built the dam across the River Niger, for example, right? And his grandfather did that, such and such and such. You get my point. So these things have not been allowed to happen. When these things happen, and then people coalesce around these regions of excellence, these people whom are excellent, the society will be in such a way that even the average person will now be able to not only reap the benefits, but will be able to gain from that thing you mentioned about the tutored. They'll get the tutelage and raise that aspect of their IQ, that aspect of their intelligence. So basically, it's already been said before. It's about this arrested development situation that makes it such that only the outliers can really succeed in a society that has not been structured to put the outliers or have that Thunderdome natural competition. Now I'm repeating myself, but I hope that makes sense.
All right, let me just acknowledge and then I'll leave. I have an early start tomorrow. That's why I'm not streaming myself. It's just a big shout out to you, by the way, Ike. So this is from Alexander Gomez, who is the Ike Gilme of my platform. He's the one that pays the bills on my platform. So so he says, wow, Ike is extremely articulate, very impressive. So Alexander Gomez, in case you may not know, is part of the 1%ers in Nigeria. You know Tafawa Balewa Square, Ike?
Yes, I do in Lagos.
Yes, his family sold that square to Nigeria, or they leased it to Nigeria. They're still collecting rent on it. So it's the 1% of the 1%. So he pays the bills on my platform. But gentlemen, I have an early start tomorrow. Let me bounce. Great conversation as ever, Kaizo. I'll listen.
Thank you. You know, one man, I have always great time when we talk about Nigeria because you know so much.
All right, cheers, guys.
Yeah, great conversation. So Ike, people are really clapping for you, man. You're very articulate. That's
Get the fuck out of here. We got a couple people that showed up but haven't, you didn't give them the opportunity to speak. One Africa, what's up? And
what do you mean you're both Igbos or black? I don't get that. What do you mean by that? Kaiser?
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't hear.
Yeah, so what do you mean? You saying Igbo, Yoruba, or the black? What do you mean about that? I don't get that statement. Can you explain what you mean?
Oh, right. Okay. So great question. So in the West, and the West meaning America, China, UK, etc., Africans are usually classified as black. But are Igbos, Yorubas, Somalis, and other Africans, are they really black? What does black mean? Is it a culture? Is it a racial identity? What does black actually mean?
Oh, I think black is
Is it genetic?
Skin color.
A skin color. Thank you.
Yeah.
If it's skin color, most people who have, most people in Africa, even Somalis will qualify as black. Maybe they don't have to identify as. Maybe they don't have to agree. They can deny they are, or they can qualify as. But when people talk about black, they always talk about genetic, and it's wrong. Genetic is, you're just gonna lose the argument. It's the weakest argument that you can make.
Yeah, interesting. And also, I want to ask, Safe Mode a question, and then we'll come back to you, my Igbo brother. Safe Mode, how did you find the channel? Right, it's important. That's why I'm asking. Right.
I was going through around looking just like at, I think the debate about Somalia, like how Somalis identify as black or something like that. And I think I found, I clicked on a video. It wasn't your video, but it was like a different video, and you guys were all there arguing a lot and just like clowning each other. And then I think that's when I guess something like your page popped up as a suggestion, and that's how I found it.
Wait, is it African Millennial or Afridamas? Is it one of those channels that you find it through?
Yeah, I don't know if it was
Afridama?
it's definitely one of those two. It's definitely one of those two because I recognize those names. But like I said, it was just a suggestion, and then I seen that it was live, so I just kind of clicked on it, and now I'm here.
Do you think I'm a coon? Do you think I'm a self-hating African?
Oh, no, definitely not. I think everybody that you guys talk with, they all have different perspective and are very, they have good reason for their arguments, which is why, I like listening to you guys talk.
Okay, interesting. So I think you did notice the conversation. So yeah, there is different elements playing through. I think people have to play a social cultural game. Now, Mrs. H will call me socially inept. I say it's a choice, and I'm trying to create my own internal narrative, right, of accuracy. But it's kind of interesting. I think the moment, and I think this is a cultural thing, right? The moment you say something that sounds that it could be seen as bad or not good, people get very scared because they don't know if they can trust you anymore. Because if you notice, the comments I get from people like Darth is you can't trust Kaizo. It's a narrative thing. So it's just something that I did notice throughout a lot of these discussions.
It's similar to Nigeria. Nigeria, the same Nigeria, like the Yorubas and trust Igbos. That's where they get presence. It's similar in Nigeria too. I think the reason why Igbo had never played Nigeria, because Nigeria doesn't trust the Igbos. It's similar to what you're saying, Kaiser.
Okay,
Well, it's like I came here yesterday and then I kind of mediated between you guys and Tunisia. And I did a similar thing right now. It is also quite interesting that I get accused of circumlocution. Well, it's not just me. Uh, let me just say what I want to say. NI gets accused of circumlocution, but only NI can resolve things. The people who cannot see NI resolving things are hopeless, in other words, right? So if I come here and then you and one man are like, oh, okay, I see the point is resolved. Mr. Tunija and the rest of the crew, like yesterday, see it and resolved. Those who cannot see what this convergence does are the worst types of humans, in my opinion. They are the real narrative people, right? They're the people who run and say, hey, this guy said this and now he said that. Why is he blah, blah, blah? Chamath stole my money, blah, 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 right? They don't really have minds that work. They're not thinking in real time. Perhaps things are moving too fast for them. Perhaps there are too many conceptual spheres intersecting and forming complicated Venn diagrams. Perhaps they don't even understand the words coming out of my mouth. But shout out to them. I'm out.
Yeah, thanks for coming through.
Is Ike Igbo? Ike? Is that
He's
Igbo?
not Igbo. He's Edo.
Oh, his name sounds Igbo. That's what I thought.
Yeah, he's from Benin. He's one of he's Edo. Interesting guy. Yeah, but I think it makes sense with the IQ. I mean, the guy is probably the only other person I think on this planet I would consider his IQ is almost as high as mine. So shout out to him, and also shout out to Chuku Igwe, $2. Whose idea is it to define ourselves by skin color? Interesting question. So Chuku, for me personally, okay, it's an interesting question, right? It's very deep and double edged, and takes multiple different perspectives, right? So on one hand, you could argue that skin color definitions allows us to unify in different angles. You could also argue that it prevents us from moving forward because all the cultural negations or negative aspects seeps into this identity issue. An example is Black Africans who identify as Black in the UK join gang culture. Same thing with the US. Meanwhile, the Black Africans who did what I did, right? My family, we grew up in a town called Reading, Bracknell, and Surrey. And the Black population isn't that high, but it's high enough because it's still Southeast England. Now, the group that I was part of, we were part of the not just Kenyan community, but the Afro-Christian community, right? So there was Jamaicans, there was Africans, there was, all the types of different Africans out there, mostly Nigerians though, because they're the largest group with Africa. None of us from the groups that I grew up with ended up in crime, zero. So there is an aspect of like keeping your culture and identity in check. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, in Kenya, did they do like African festival in Kenya? Did they do that? I know in Nigeria they do that. Did they do that in Kenya?
Africa?
Did they have African festival in Kenya? Oh no,
Black African Festival in Kenya. I don't know. I haven't seen one so far, so I wouldn't be able to to add.
No, they have like own culture. You guys in Kenya? Can Nigeria they do like masquerade festival in Nigeria? Do you have your own special culture you guys do in Kenya? That's special to you guys?
No, not really. But yeah, guys, shout out. Let's end the stream. I'll be restarting the stream and doing one on economics. I know that's a lot more boring. But yeah, so guys, let's have a final words. We'll go around the panel. We'll start with Safe Mode, then One Africa, and then Kifaru, the fake Mrs. H. She can have a final words if she wants to. But yeah, go ahead, Safe Mode, One Africa, and then we'll end the show. Then I'll restart it on a different topic. Go ahead.
Definitely, yeah. Thanks for having me on. Hope you guys are all doing all right, man. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace.
Peace and
one love for Africa. One love.
Yeah, go ahead, One. Mr. H, do you want to say anything? Do you want to scream? Do you want to shout out loud? What's good, sis? 86,000 seconds. Well, I guess nothing. But yeah, guys, thanks for coming through. And shout out again to the stream sponsors. We got Chukwu Igbo with $5. I do appreciate that. We got Ike Ogianyen, $20. We do appreciate. And also we got Chukwu Igbo again with another $2. So thank you very much. I do appreciate the stream and the contributions from everyone in the chat, as well as the panel and the super chats. So the next stream will be on economics. So just go ahead, click on my whatever it is, my channel, and reload if you want to listen to it. Right, it's a boring conversation. It ain't interesting for people, so I don't really recommend it. But that's it. Go click on the link, and I'll be restarting. Thank you very much for listening. Shallow mother loving wham. Welcome to the Kaizorian experience. Over here, we're going to be talking about everything African. We're going to be having debates, discussions, entertainment, as well as learning about business, art, history, and everything in between. Cultural, tribalism, and everything. We're going to be out here debating with some really interesting stuff. So like the video, share the video, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe for the best experience ever. This is the biggest channel on the Afrosphere. So come and join the team, become a Kaizorian, and join the Kaizorian Empire. Universally exist within myself, within this premise, and I exist within this bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like the blue in the sky. I'ma fly like bird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma throw my bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fight like bluebird in the sky. I'ma eat like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Back again like the second coming. Strumming my vocal cords like the hummingbird in the sky. Y'all can't deny this. Real rap lyrics, it's like I ain't got no rhyming through the sky limit. What is skin tone, shade of color, but a parallel form of frequency like a ringtone on your phone. Melanin expression tied up in the universe, feeling like God. Is this really us? Is it serious? Is it really wrong to be diverse? I'm a divergent, immerse myself like an ocean beneath this waves. Be a divergent, born to be different. Indigo child, wild like canary. Born to be a bluebird in the sky, flying high like a bluebird in the sky. I'm a fly high bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. I'm a fly high bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Everybody scream bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high.